Episode 7 and 8 aired Sunday night of the famed Docu series The Last Dance, detailing the Chicago Bulls championship run of 1998. Last night looked at Micheal Jordan's initial retirement in 1993, the death of his father, the experiment with the baseball and the Chicago White Sox, and then Jordan's return back to the NBA. Jason Ayer, who is the ESPN Last Dance documentary's producer, was on with SVP talking about MJ becoming emotional at the end of episode 7, talking about his competitive spirit.
But it's funny, if you talk, like, what are the things that elicit that kind of emotion from him? Showing him his mom reading a letter home from him, his mom's voice, his mom's face, family elicits emotion from him, and his philosophy, how he lives his life, defending that. He is so adamant about that he gets emotional about it. And he said he finished and he put his hand up and he said, break. And he leaned up and got out of his chair.
Yeah, that was that moment I thought was probably the most powerful last night, but it was also representative of why I liked last night's episode so much, Jordy. They felt the most humanizing. It felt the most like an actual documentary where you're getting a look into his psyche, and it's not just kind of like a retelling of his glorious accomplishments. It was a spectacular time last night watching those 2 hours. More from Ayer talking about asking MJ the tough questions.
And it's on like the second page. It's early in the interview, but it is, is all of that intensity and all the success that you've achieved worth the cost of being perceived as a nice guy? Because by and large, in my estimation, you are not. And you can see his expression. I think he was a little bit surprised by the question, or like, he almost had this look like, well, I think I'm a nice guy. I don't know. And then he started to get more and more intense. And by the end of that, I mean, it's 45 minutes into the first interview, he was tearing up.
That's it, Jason, you're dead.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you made eye contact, you're dead. That was the other thing we learned last night, that Micheal Jordan has that kind of like El Chapo mindset where like, okay, yeah, you shook his hand wrong. You made eye contact and you shouldn't have. You're dead to him now.
Poor LeBradford Smith.
LeBradford, he screwed up. I mean, BJ Armstrong has no excuse. He should have known better. BJ Mike said it.
Even George Karl knew better. I mean, George Karl's a Carolina guy. In the finals, you're not going to tell Jordan hello at the restaurant, try to embarrass him in public?
What I don't get about George is he blew it on and off the court, right? Why would you not put your best defender on Mike the entire series? And then why in the world would you walk past this psychopath when you see him in a restaurant?
Gary Payton finally says, that's it, coach. I'm taking MJ.
The glove. I had no problem with the glove.
Shaquille O'Neal believes the best move for the NBA is to cancel the season. O'Neal told For the Win, I think we should scrap the season. Everybody go home, get healthy, come back next year. Just scrap the season. Just scrap it. To try and come back now and rush the playoffs as a player would be mind-boggling. Zion Williamson and Duke were in the news over the weekend. Attorneys representing Zion Williamson's former marketing representative and her company have asked the New Orleans Pelicans star to admit that his mother and stepfather demanded and received gifts, money, and other benefits from persons acting on behalf of Adidas and Nike, and also people associated with Duke, to influence him to sign with the Blue Devils and to wear Nike or Adidas products. Williamson, I don't know why I keep putting an S on everybody.
It's a Cajun
getting old,
thing.
Man. Williamson.
It is like a parent thing to do.
It is. Going down to the Costco's? Williamson, who played one season at Duke before becoming the number 1 pick in the 2019 NBA draft, sued Gina Ford and Prime Sports in June in an attempt to terminate his marketing agreement with her company. In a filing over the weekend with the Miami-Dade County Court last week, Ford's attorney asked Williamson to admit that several statements were true, including that Sharonda Sampson, who is Zion's mom, and Lee Anderson, who we know well here on OTB,
upstanding
demanding
individual,
and received gifts and economic benefits from persons acting on behalf of Duke University.
Never.
To influence Zion to attend Duke.
This just sounds like a spurned ex-lover here, trying to sully our guy's good name, okay? We've had Dickie V on this show.
I'll never
and he
believe
told
that
you,
Zion took gifts, but I will always believe that Duke is a hell of a dirty program.
No, look, Dickie V told you that Zion was the savior last year, and that he was. As a pro Zion show, we refuse to endorse any of this slander. And plus, we love Lee Anderson, so he never has done anything wrong.
Some NFL news, just some brief NFL news from the weekend. The Miami Dolphins have signed long snapper Blake Ferguson to a 4-year deal, which will be worth over $3.5 million for the next 4 years for Ferguson. How about that?
Well, you still got to make the
pick.
team, but I will say this: being a draft pick at long snapper and getting that, it makes it a lot easier to make the team.
Those are your headlines. What's trending here on this Monday morning, May 11th, on Off the Bench.